Cheers! Communication becomes difficult when it turns into a performance. The moment we start trying to be impressive, persuasive, or composed, something shifts. Our attention moves away from clarity and toward impression. And that is where communication begins to lose its natural strength. Interestingly, the people who experience this tension the most are often not the least capable ones. They are usually the most thoughtful professionals, the ones who listen carefully, the ones who reflect before they speak, the ones who genuinely want their ideas to be understood. Because they think too much, they start to act, they start to perform. Yet after certain conversations, many of them leave with the same quiet frustration. That is not what exactly I meant. If you recognize that feeling, the issue is rarely a lack of communication skill. More often, it is lack of alignment. Today we are talking about communication. Personal brand essentials, communication, which is part 5. Before we dive in, let's talk about the performance trap in communication. Over time, communication advice began to resemble performance coaching. Speak confidently, sound polished, be persuasive, command the room. Great advice. On the surface, this seems helpful. But underneath this advice, there's often hidden pressure. If you're not impressive enough, people overlook you. If you're not persuasive enough, you lose influence. If you do not appear strong enough, you lose authority. But communication built on performance eventually breaks. Because performance separates you from your natural voice, your authentic voice. What I have been talking about on this channel, authenticity. And when communication becomes disconnected from who you are, trust quietly weakens. People may not always know why exactly feels off, but they feel it. What happens when you are under that pressure? I call them social norms for your entrepreneurship speaking journey. You have to do all those things. Nope. If you got on that trap, this is how your life would look. You prepare your thoughts carefully. You know what you want to say. You organize your ideas in advance. Everything feels clear. Then the moment arrives. Someone questions your perspective. Energy in the room changes. A subtle pressure appears. And suddenly the way you communicate shifts. You begin explaining more than necessary. You add extra context to make sure people understand. You justify your position more than you intended. Or sometimes the opposite happens. Your tone becomes sharper, more defensive, more forceful. And afterward, something feels slightly misaligned. Not because you lacked intelligence, but because the connection between what you think, what you feel, and what you say weakens pressure. When that connection breaks, your message becomes mixed. In other words, if you are acting in an image that you have created based on the social norms, for your speaking journey, entrepreneurship journey. And when something different happens and you don't know the answer to act on it, you start becoming who you truly are. You start acting on your authenticity, and the image and you are not aligned anymore. And people get confused. Personal branding cannot survive with mixed signals. Your audience might not consciously analyze what happened, but they sense the inconsistency and misalignment. There are 3 elements of authentic communication that I'm going to share with you. Authentic communication rests on 3 essential elements. First one, clarity. Second, alignment. Third, delivery. Most communication advice focuses on delivery, as we touched on a couple of them. Speak confidently. Those advice focus on how you speak. But strong communication actually starts before than that. Let's start with clarity. Clarity means understanding your own position. What you believe, what you stand for, what you are no longer willing to compromise. When this internal clarity is weak, communication becomes complicated. You start explaining more than necessary because the idea itself not fully settled inside you. Strong communication always begins internally. Second one, alignment. Alignment is the connection between your thoughts, your emotions, and your words. When these 3 move in the same direction, communication feels grounded. But when you say something you do not fully stand behind, your body notices immediately. Your tone changes, your rhythm shifts, your energy tightens. Even if the words sound correct, the message loses stability. Authenticity lives here. Without alignment, communication easily turns into performance. Third one, delivery. Delivery is the visible part of communication. Your tone, your pacing, your presence. Delivery absolutely matters. But when delivery exists without alignment and clarity, it often feels rehearsed or forced. When clarity, alignment, and delivery support each other, communication becomes steady and natural. That's what we want. Because steady communication builds authority. And authority is very important for your personal branding. Here is the strategic mistake many people make. Many professionals start by improving delivery, and I mentioned this at the beginning of this video. They work on posture, voice control, presentation skills, how their presentation looks like, but they never pause to clarify what they truly stand for internally. So the process often becomes delivery, control, performance. But sustainable authority grows in a different order: clarity, alignment, delivery. If you know what you stand for, what you want to say clearly, if you're aligned with who you are and what you are going to say, then the delivery seems very easy. All you need is to apply all the professional skills you already have or learn it and give your speech. Show up, express yourself. But it starts with clarity, then alignment, and then delivery, not the other way around. First, understand your position. Then make sure you emotionally stand behind it. Then express it simply. You will see it will just come naturally. That's where mature authority begins. And I have to admit, there were moments in my own journey that I wanted to sound the best, the most professional, the most polished, scripted, correct. But internally, I didn't feel aligned with that. If I don't feel aligned, nothing works for me. So I'll give you a recent example. I started rebranding my website and some other things that are happening behind the scenes. So I am working with someone who is going to build my back system, my website and my CRM system from scratch. So it's definitely a time to change, shift, and bloom as spring comes. But let me tell you this, she gave me an outline for me to shoot some videos to introduce myself on my website. I put it almost every day on my to-do list to do for 2 to 3 weeks, but I never get it done. And I said, this is not about me being lazy or not wanting to do or not putting it as my priority to do. There's something not right here. So I told her, does this have to be 7 videos? Does this have to be under the titles you want me to do? Does this have to be in this way and that way? And she said, no. These were just an example for you to have some sort of a guide, but you can create your own. You're free to create your own, and please do your own. Please introduce yourself in a way that you want. I was like, good. Then the next thing happened in my mind. What do I need for these videos? I wanted to get a new microphone that I have been thinking, so I ordered that. When the microphone arrived, meanwhile, I wrote my script in an hour, maybe less than an hour. I was ready to shoot, and I just shot all of them this morning, right before this video. So when it's aligned, when I'm clear what I want to say, when I have all those things and I embody it, delivery happens. It's the same for you. First, make sure you're aligned with what you do after being clear about what it is that you stand for. So what clarity does? Clarity reduces your defensiveness. Alignment reduces over-explaining yourself, and delivery becomes natural. When your nervous system feels safe, your voice, steadiness, and authenticity is inevitable. The deep truth here is communication is not about sounding right. It's about being aligned enough that you no longer feel the need to prove your point repeatedly. When your thoughts, emotions, and words move in the same direction, people relax. And relaxed people listen. If this resonated with you, I invite you to sit down with yourself and look at your communication skills. Where are you not clear? Where do you lack of alignment, if you do so? Where in my communication do I start explaining instead of trusting my clarity? And what would change if I communicated from alignment instead of performance? This is Personal Brand Essentials 5. Wow, we made part 5, and I told you there is a bonus one. You will see the bonus video next week, so stay tuned for that. If you missed the whole series up until now, you can watch the rest of it from the playlist here, and I'll see you there. Cheers.